Hipster Craig.
Was it?
Yes.
Yes, hipster
Yeah.
Craig.
Was that
Hipster
not
Craig.
the Ajax Juve game I was looking forward to?
No.
What was wrong with it?
A bit boring. Nothing much happened.
Yeah, it was Ajax won.
Yes.
Ajax played some nice stuff. We saw some De Jong and Shawnee and all those good players again. Delit.
Yeah.
So what was wrong with that? What did you want?
Well, something that happened in the second half would be nice.
Well, that's called closing the game out.
I know, but from our point of view, we're neutral. You want goals.
The game out. It's called professionalism.
Oh, I don't want to see professionalism.
Clueless.
Hey,
I gotta
Go
be
and
honest
watch
with
some
you.
couple of pub teams
well,
that
you
can't
didn't
defend.
give Atleti.
You get goals in the third and fourth divisions of all the leagues around the world. You know why? Because they can't defend.
Yeah.
Right, so if you just want goals, go and watch.
No, but I want a bit of everything.
I gotta be honest with you. Hipster Craig is really not that hip, right?
It's more like angry Craig.
Yeah, exactly. Back to normal, Craig.
Yeah.
I'm just
Trying to
saying.
get some bleeding dress sense, you do.
Who's he having to go at now?
You.
Oh, it's just your beard, your dress sense.
And I'm only waiting.
Oh, dear.
Oh, goodness.
We're on
It
the
looks
job.
like your tie is really long in that.
Yeah, it looks really, really long.
Is
Is that long?
No, lean
No,
forward.
but when you lean
the
forward,
reflection,
it
lean
looks
forward.
just like a massive one.
Now you look like hipster Craig.
I've said nothing.
Really look like hipster
I've
Craig.
said nothing. Sorry, it looks.
Wow.
Okay, move on.
Very hipster.
No,
What? What Ajax players, Gab? Gab's still here, everyone.
Hey!
Hipster Gab.
What Ajax players do you think Spurs should target this summer?
Well, I mean, I think a lot's going to depend on obviously how much money they actually have to spend. I don't like this idea that Spurs should target Ajax just because Ajax beat them at home, but I think a guy like Donny van de Beek would fit very, very nicely in this team. Should Dele Alli move on? Should Christian Eriksen move on? I really like Mazraoui. I wish we could have seen more of him, but I thought he was really effective against Real Madrid. Obviously, he missed most of the two ties against Juve. I know people love Trippier, but I think Mazraoui's a pretty special player too. David Neres is tremendous. Again, I think he's somebody to look at.
They're going after everybody, apparently.
why would Tottenham be trying to poach Ajax players and Ajax not trying to poach Tottenham players?
Finances, I suppose.
Was my question.
Sorry?
No, that was kind of my question. But
I thought that was
if you want to troll people, we can suggest that. No.
It's because
We
of how
could
many
just start a
ex-Ajax
rumor
players
that
currently
Ajax
play
are
for
going
Spurs,
after
that's
Harry
why.
Kane.
Yeah, with no money.
Move on.
Oh.
Is there any way, Shaq, the PSG can turn into a Champions League winning squad in the next 5 years?
Spend any money the way they've done, yes, but maybe we'll have to get Gab to explain financial fair play to us.
No. What are you
Maybe
doing,
why that
Jack?
may not be a
What are
possibility.
you doing,
Tell
Jack?
you what, there's more chance
What
of
are
that
you
happening than you turning that into a beard in 5 years.
But Gab
Useful.
Oh dear. Who was the coach?
Robin Fraser with Chivas USA.
Wow.
And
Chivas was a great.
it was a great experience for me. Really. Broke my nose twice. That was fantastic. And we stopped.
I never broke a nose, no.
But that's why you were voted, what, the 7th sexiest man in the
I don't know
Caribbean?
what you're
How
talking
can you be a
about.
goalkeeper and not broken?
Did you ever do your nose? If you knew.
How you can be an
Listen.
outfit player and not break your nose?
Just because it looks like a half doesn't mean a half, right? So don't try and be smart. Sorry, well, you never come out. You must have been coming out at people's feet, diving. Or would you what? You
Oh,
never come
let
off your
me see how it's coming up.
You never come off your line. You wouldn't have come off your line if you put the winning lottery ticket on the 6-yard ball. Speaking of the goalkeeper coming out like that.
That's how all goalkeepers come out nose first.
If someone.
Like Eddie the Eagle. What?
If someone like Ali wearing one of those masks, are you targeting?
No, I never elbowed anybody intentionally. I didn't.
No?
No, not intentionally. No, I don't like that. Kicked a few.
No.
I gotta say,
Shaq, you must have come out elbows flying.
No,
back in the day.
no.
Come out.
Came out nose first. It's hard to go out nose first and elbow
when he
somebody.
said Maris is here on Thursday, he could take up the whole show without broken noses. I think that's doing it.
I gotta say that mask, by the way.
Yes.
I do believe that it was on clearance wherever they bought it. It wasn't the best mask.
So like most of Chivas' squad.
Correct. Correct.
eBay mask?
Correct. Yes.
Our producer just says, yes, producer? What were you saying?
He said, what, is that the guy with the
Now
Dutch...
he's gone quiet.
All right.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's the guy with the Dutch name, supporting Ajax, but he's not Dutch.
No, that's true.
He
Maybe,
can't speak a word of the lingo.
maybe he's talking about broken nose.
Last couple of days is
Operation.
Oh,
a weird nationality
he wants a
thing
broken nose now. I'll bloody give him one. He wants one now. He always wants something that somebody else has got. Have you got a broken nose? Your toes are long. I've got a long toe too. In fact, I'm going to have mine operated on before you.
Oh, dear.
Or my hip. Or my hip sore.
For us three, this is brilliant. For everyone else,
Yeah.
Unlucky.
It's an inside joke. Just stick with us. If you don't get any complaints, write in.
ESPN FC is back tomorrow.
I'm not.
Liverpool, Barcelona. Steve will be here. You won't watch the match with us. Will he?
Yeah, he will. Well, no, he'll be on YouTube while the game's on. He's watching cruise ships crashing into port.
Dreaming of Shepherd's Pie.
Or rogue TSA agents. Stuff like that.
He loves a rogue agent. First leg of the Champions League semi-final tomorrow in London as Spurs take on Ajax. Of course, Tottenham Hotspur go into this match with somewhat of a depleted squad. Kane out, Winks out, Aurier out, Lamela out. Meanwhile, Sissoko and Vertonghen are both questionable. Son as well suspended for this first leg. So this is how we expect Spurs, well, Gabs expects Spurs to set up. You look at that, boys, and it's still a good side. And it should be a side that should be able to get a result against Ajax at home.
Well, I'd be hoping Sissoko's back in there, and I think if he is fit, he would probably play. So a couple of the players that are injured were probably bench players, particularly Lamela and Aurier. Obviously, Kane's not. The absence of Son is massive for them because of the pace with him and Lucas Moura in behind. But the answer to your question is it's still a very good side. However, we've talked about this. This is such a difficult tie to call because Ajax are a fantastically talented mixture of youth, experience, playmakers, and they've proven that. And they've proven it on the road. More importantly, they've proven it in Madrid, and they proved it in Turin. I fancy Spurs being at home to get a result. But I don't necessarily fancy them to go through over the two legs. It's a difficult one.
I understand the love for Ajax, but thrown into that as well, they beat a Real Madrid side who are just terrible at the moment. Yeah, they won away, and I know they won at the Bernabeu.
Yeah,
Real
but they
Madrid
completely
were a mess.
took them to...
And Juventus
yes.
just had a nightmare. Tactically, they just didn't really know what to do. So this time they're going into a match where you're going to be up against a team that's tactically sound, where you're not necessarily the underdogs anymore, so you're not playing with house money. So have things not just changed slightly for Ajax going into this tie compared to both the ones
Well, you're talking about
Madrid?
Tottenham being tactically sound when Max Allegri, pulled one over in Pochettino the season before, tactically. So, I mean, I think that's a lot. I think to say, OK, Juventus didn't have their best night. However, to say that it was only they were tactically naive, Ajax exploited them. That's what I would say, and they can exploit this Tottenham side. It's a 50-50 call in my opinion. I mean, it really is. If Tottenham cannot shut down the Ajax playmakers, Tadic, Ziyech, De Boek, people like that, Frankie De Jong, if they can't stop them, if they've got space to operate, then they're going to have big problems.
I think that's the thing. I mean, as much as it's easy to say, well, Real really aren't that good and Juventus had a bad night, I think that's not giving Ajax the credit that they are due. Let's remember the first leg against Real Madrid and also in Amsterdam against Juventus and how Ajax responded. And I think maybe that plays into Spurs' hands as much as anything, the fact that the second leg is in Amsterdam this time around, where Ajax, a lot more will be expected of them. So maybe tactically and in terms of their own approach, it's new for Ajax. But Spurs still favourites, but not for the first time we're seeing Ajax come into this as underdogs.
Gab?
Well, first of all, I agree. If Sissoko's fit, Sissoko plays. I don't think there's any question there. But obviously, he's still a doubt. I think one of the keys, and this is why the midfield is so important, is, you know, if Sissoko's not there, you're looking at Dyer, who's still sort of half fit after his injury. You look at Wanyama, still Wanyama. You're basically forcing Dele Alli and Christian Eriksen to go and do a ton of defensive work to basically deny the midfield. They don't want to fall into the same trap that Juve fell into, where Ajax were just passing rings around them. But if Dele Alli and Christian Eriksen, who are already tired after a long season, especially Eriksen, if they have to go and do the grunt work in midfield, then who's going to go and help out Lucas Moura on his own at the other end of the pitch? Pochettino spoke about this today. He insists that his team aren't tired. He says that, no, if we were tired, we wouldn't have run 2.5 miles more than West Ham did at the weekend. I don't know. I think if you looked pretty closely, you kind of saw his nose getting longer when he said that. I think Spurs are worn down, and I think this is really going to be a battle of nerves and midfields.
It's interesting you mentioned worn down. Let's not forget Ajax have had the week off to prepare for this, away from the Eredivisie. And it's interesting the Premier League that's never shy in blowing its own trumpet when it comes to being the best league in the world, but sometimes that falls on somewhat deaf ears when you take a look at their run in Europe. Is there not an argument to say that they could or should help out their teams more in preparations for these big European nights as other leagues do?
TV companies.
Everyone's got TV companies, haven't they? Everyone's got TV contracts with different leagues.
The Premier League are concerned with themselves and themselves only. They don't care about what the individual clubs do in Europe. They don't care about the English national team. You can make the argument that, for instance, we use the Eredivisie here. The perception of that league is almost tied to how well Dutch clubs do in the Champions League. English football and the Premier League don't have that issue, and the Premier League recognises that it doesn't matter if all 4 English teams crash out in the group stage, they will still be able to command a lot of money. It does not to the Premier League as a business. It does not.
Quickly, Cam.
Dan, there's 20 teams, 20 clubs in the Premier League. They all have an equal vote. There's only 6 of them that ever actually do anything meaningful in Europe. Those are the only ones who would care about it. The other 14 want to maximize the TV revenue so they can get their share. That's why the Premier League, when it comes to fixtures, they're going to always put the TV audiences first.
Last word, Craig, on this quickly.
A mixture of the Premier League and the TV companies, and you know, ultimately. And the crazy thing is, just briefly, is that Liverpool playing on a Wednesday in 2 days, played on the Friday night.
Yeah.
And Tottenham playing on the Tuesday, played on the Saturday morning. Now, it's small margins, but small margins at this level can make a big difference. You know, I was thinking about it, and look, it makes a difference if you can't agree a and you don't really have anywhere else to go that's decent, right? Then you're under pressure because it's a game of bluff. He's obviously playing a game of bluff, but let's be honest, if he doesn't get what he wants or he perceives as a fair deal at United, he'll be going to one of the biggest clubs in the world somewhere else, and be it in England or a different country. So I don't see how he's lying awake at night worrying about that.
Right.
And hence then it affecting his performances. I just think he's low in confidence. I think he's made a couple of mistakes, and now he's thinking about it more often than not, and he's getting away from what he does and what he has been doing naturally, and he's, you know, it's just crept into his game. I would be surprised if it was a contract.
I'm going to go the other way because everybody's different. Some people thrive on confrontation or being in the papers or whatever it may be, and David De Gea maybe I agree, Craig, saying that there's no question, if he doesn't sign a contract, he can go pretty much where he wants after that. The problem is, if he's angry, if he's going to his bed at night thinking, you know what, you've got a guy in Sanchez getting a certain amount of money, and I'm doing what I've done for this club, and they're not just turning around and giving me that. If he's got that festering, then that is going to affect him. Because it's taking his eye off the ball. And it's happening right in the middle of the contract negotiations. So it's very difficult not to think it's got something to do with it.
Away from De Gea, what do we have to say about United today? They were better, at least, weren't they?
Which is along the lines of last week they tried a bit harder. You know, Chelsea haven't exactly been the most difficult team to play against, so there is that. And it was arguably their last opportunity. So they looked lively early on. Well, bearing in mind Chelsea were playing with 10 men, and literally playing with 10 men, because Higuain was awful. I think when he woke up this morning, he woke up offside. There was a linesman, an assistant standing in his bedroom with a flag up. He was only onside once, and that was the chance at the end that he made a mess of.
Yeah.
So it was a big opportunity against a Chelsea side that looked a little slow, a little pedestrian again, particularly in midfield, with a heavy reliance on Eden Hazard with no Hudson-Odoi. And this result is, you know, it's been a good weekend for Tottenham, even though they lost, put it that way, in some sense. The best weekend Tottenham could have had with losing, as they did to West Ham, was the fact that Arsenal lost, United couldn't beat Chelsea, and the fact is, that's a good point for Chelsea, bearing in mind they've got a +8 goal difference on United.
This Gonzalo Higuain thing is fascinating, because clearly he's not fit. Well, clearly he's not the player that Chelsea thought he was getting. However, anyone who's seen Milan, anyone who's seen him play for Milan this season would know this is pretty much the Higuain you got. Nowhere near the standard. Nowhere near the standard of the player who scored.
Listen, at the end of the day, he's the guy you want on the end of things. So if you're going to have Higuain in your team, you need to create chances. And if he doesn't take them, then it's a surprise. If you've got a team set up that isn't looking to put balls into the box early or make opportunities for your centre forward, and they're more interested in players coming from wide areas trying to score, then you're going to get from Higuain what you get. And that's not a lot of chances.